Hello. For this week's discussion, I will be discussing the film adaptation of V for Vendetta. For the first question, which is, do you agree or disagree with the film's tagline, people should not be afraid of their governments, governments should be afraid of their people? Why or why not? I believe that in the end, I agree more in line with the notion that governments should be afraid of the people and not vice versa. At its core, a government, no matter what it is, should have the ultimate goal of serving the people. There have been events in the past that provide reasons as to why the government should be afraid if they do not fulfill their goal. One huge example of this was the French Revolution, where the king was overthrown due to his neglect and sabotage of the lives of the average French person for his own personal gain. One could make the argument that those kind of events would be impossible in the present due to the heavy increase in the technology that a government has access to, such as weapons. This film, though it is a work of fiction, attempts to convey how technology does not matter if the ideals and the support for said ideals are strong enough. Then said ideals will prevail past any adversity. For the second question, one of the events in the movie that I felt really impacted me the most was the scene where V visits Delia to kill her. She seemed to be the only one involved with the events at Larkhill that expressed any sort of guilt for what they had done. I felt that sort of resonated with me because there have been times where I've seen people in my family do things that have heavily upset people, despite them being convinced that what they had done was the right decision. Delia, at that time, believed what she was doing was right. She believed that her actions ultimately were going to lead to prosperity within her home country. Another event that impacted me was the part where the crowd dressed as V unmasked themselves as Parliament exploded. This scene showed everyone who was a part of the story unmask themselves, even those who were killed because of their differing beliefs or orientations, such as Gordon and Valerie. This part really drove home the point that V's actions weren't simply to seek revenge. This showed that V's actions were not only to better the future of those living in the present, but also to seek justice for those who were victims of the villainous justice system in the past. For the third question, I would have to agree with the notion that the film and comic can be seen as two different influences. The main difference between the two mediums is the period of time in which they take place. The film takes place about 40 years after the comic does, so the change between the aspects of each medium and how the respective stories unfold is overwhelming. Since the film was created in 2006, the writers seem to compensate for the change in governmental issues occurring in the two different time periods. Many can make pretty clear connections between the events in the movie and the events occurring in this year alone, such as the deadly virus and the public outrage against people in power. As for Alan Moore and his lack of association with the film, I understand how film never does the comic justice, but in this case I feel as if the changes made in the movie were all positive and were just made to fit the times. To be honest, Moore just seems angry at Hollywood. That is all. Thank you.